I just trust that I sound dope.
Wow, it's misplaced trust. Happy DocMas residents! Ooh,
spooky.
And welcome to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Each episode this week and next, we are releasing a DocMas episode. Well, I was trying to save it, but then it didn't work. We will be releasing an episode for every day leading up to Christmas for the 12 days.
12 days.
Of DocMas.
12 drinks. All recorded on a single day, all in a row.
That's right.
A horrible idea. We've repeated 3 times now.
Yeah, don't
Clink,
do
clink.
that. And before hey, shut your mouth. You haven't been introduced yet.
Oh, what a great host.
Yeah.
So nice.
And before we introduce this guest, we have a review.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're plowing through them.
I know. 5 stars on iTunes from Stump Chunkman.
Step into the stump.
No, we don't do those during the reviews.
Stump okay.
No, you know that.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Is that a real person's name?
No, it's their iTunes account. I mean, technically, it could be there.
It's his Christian name.
Yes.
From a proud line of Chunkmans.
Mr. Chunkman goes on to say, if you don't like and subscribe to this podcast, Alfred will make you the next Batman.
Wow. So inside.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true. Our version of Alfred. His bloodlust knows no bounds. Yeah.
I'm not sure what you mean. I have a penchant for making suits, and sometimes you have to find interesting ways of getting them in them.
Thank you, Stump.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you for the 5-star review.
And we've got a little taste of it already, but this episode we are joined by my both business and life partner, Matthew Douglas.
I mean, how dare
Hello.
you?
Is that when I say hello?
Yeah, that's it.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hence the introduction.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
See, I like Matt. I've spent some time with Matt.
Not enough, clearly.
Matt's awesome, but I'm a little bit upset that you introduced him as your life partner. We do this every week.
We are both in business and spend more time together.
I literally put money in his pants.
That's true.
Well, that's not what I put in his pants.
No, it's a lot of wet fish, and I don't understand why.
I was going to say just like paper towel.
Yeah.
Just
Pea-soaked paper towel.
You got to soak up that damp. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I've never really done a podcast before. This is exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing here specifically. Other
You're
than
just there
eating
to
pizza, but
colored commentary and to
I mean,
look
certainly.
pretty.
colored commentary. Is
Yeah.
that what you said?
Yeah.
No. That's not what you said.
I said colored commentary.
Color commentary, not colored commentary.
I mean, yeah, but if he wants to be a little spicy with it, it could be colored commentary.
More than spicy like caliente?
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh?
That went in the spot. That went right there.
Look, anything that you're... I'm definitely
dip
doing
my
this,
pizza.
yeah.
are you guys literally dipping your
Yeah.
pizza garnish in the Caesar?
Yeah, that's what
I can't.
I had a whole
can't.
plan. You guys were unfortunately behind schedule, but I was going to leave in the middle of the podcast to go pick up the pizza.
Oh, man.
Like, the doorbell
That actually
rings.
would have timed out really well.
Yeah, it goes downstairs.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's
It's okay.
O'Shea's fault, actually.
Yeah, blame O'Shea.
Yeah, because he was late.
Yeah, welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
So what... I don't know if we've ever had this conversation, but like, if any, what knowledge of like comic book things do you have?
I would say as much as like a grade 6 school teacher in the 90s. So like she confiscates some comic books.
Okay.
She, knows a little bit about it because she wants to make some color commentary among her students, but not much. So I've seen the movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Growing up, we couldn't afford comic books,
No.
at least the popular ones, so we had really weird ones. And Archie. We had a lot of Archie.
Of course.
Available
But not-
everywhere.
Yeah.
But not the new issues.
Those are some of the only ones that are available everywhere.
Yeah.
Archie's a reasonable thing for people to have read.
Yeah.
You get the shoe boxes full at garage sales. That's
Mhm.
typically how
Oh,
I get
yeah, yeah.
my Archies.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, should we just get into
Let's
it?
do it.
We got some questions, some random stuff about superheroes, so let's do it.
Absolutely.
Ready?
So first, we're going to Facebook.
Going to the face and the book, going to the Facebook.
That's right. First question comes from the most interesting resident.
Okay, well, it's one of three.
Yeah.
Is
I don't know what you mean. There's only one interesting resident.
Is it Roland Sebas?
No, why? Why would you say that?
Is it Andrew Delgado?
That's right, my friend.
Oh, thank God.
Andrew
Okay.
Delgado.
Well, I'm sorry. They're all the same voice, though.
There's only one. I don't understand. It's the most interesting resident.
Right.
It's Andrew Delgado.
I'm sorry.
Who asks, do the different Justice Leagues ever swap spoilery tips? Oh, your Titans have Terra. Yeah, look out for that one. Also, are there any other villain teams out there like Legion of Savannahs?
Right. So, I mean, what this question's really talking about is that there's a multiverse, and every universe has a version of a Justice League. And so what the question is asking is, do we think that the multiverse is, even though the Earths are all different,
Yeah.
do we think that some events unfold the same way enough that if they ever met up, they could be like, oh, you're not there yet, but watch out for this?
Like by chance, you're saying that the circumstances lead
Yeah.
to a similar outcome or situation.
Yeah, enough that they could like give a spoiler to another Earth's Justice League. I mean, if you're talking about infinite Earths, then it's got to. There's got to be, right? Because things are so close together on certain Earths. I think the way that they are right now, maybe not, because some of them are really different. There's a world full of robots, or there's a world where the Justice League's evil, or there's a world where the Amazons are like part of society, so it's more female heroes and stuff like that. So history is different. Things are different enough that I don't know that you can count on
That character being the same way.
all of the same events happening basically the
Yeah.
same way.
So you're saying there's never an opportunity for something like that to lead in to be the same?
Not never, but I think it's less likely than the question implies.
Yeah.
I mean, the multiverse bit is the weird bit of that. Time travel, you know, the rule of time travel is you don't change the past, but it's comic books. They always fucking change the past. That is where someone can come back and be like, this is how it happened.
Barry Allen's changed the past?
Once or twice.
Yeah, one maybe.
Have you heard of a story called Flashpoint, Matt?
No, I don't think so.
It was a story where the Flash goes back in time to stop his mom from being murdered. And when he does, he breaks history, and it like results in the end of the world. So he has to then go back in time again and make sure his mom gets murdered. Which is pretty grim.
How does he kill her?
Well, he doesn't. He just lets her die.
Okay.
He stops himself from saving
stopping.
her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
It's a heartbreaking story.
Yeah, it's
Very
pretty
gruesome.
grim.
Yeah.
But that alternate world that he created had like Bruce gets killed in the alley, and his Martha, his mom, goes nuts and becomes the Joker, and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman, and he's like a gun-toting murder Batman.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a pretty grim world, actually. That Flashpoint one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that for the most part, you can't expect that timeline to go the same way. So
No, I don't think so. Between Earths, no.
definitely.
Time travel, definitely. Give yourself a little like
Nudge,
hey,
nudge.
watch out for this.
Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Wink, wink. nudge,
Yeah,
nudge.
exactly. Yeah.
So, absolutely. All right. Let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
Twitter.
That's right. There's a flash sale at the keyboard store. Organ Night.
I like that you keep coming up with.
I'm going to run out of ideas at some point. Organ Knight asks, how would you have felt if they had done the rumored plan of making the Amazons and Atlanteans the result of Kryptonian colonizers shown in MOS? Would that have been a good fit for that universe or not?
So you said you've seen the movies. Have you seen like Man of Steel and like Batman v Superman and those ones?
Not Batman v Superman,
Right.
but Man of Steel. Of course.
Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Did you see like Justice League or Wonder Woman or any of those?
Wonder Woman came out with a movie.
The newer
Yeah.
ones, yeah. Oh, man.
Didn't see it.
Got it on DVD downstairs. It's yours.
Yeah,
I
it's
could
mine, yeah.
Lend it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will take it.
It's really, really good.
I'll have to find a DVD player.
It's also a Blu-ray.
Oh,
Yeah.
Next one. Anyways, go on.
But you have seen Man of Steel.
Yes.
So maybe you remember. There's a scene in Man of Steel where he's like going through the ship that he finds in the ice. It's where he meets the computer version of Jor-El and stuff like that. And in the background, there's like a pod that's open. The idea is that this Kryptonian ship has been on Earth for like 10,000, 15,000 years, that it's like the remnants of some explorers.
Okay.
There's a pod that's open. That they didn't really know what was going to happen. They hadn't planned a cinematic universe. They wanted to see how Man of Steel was going to do. But
and then that's something they left it basically a door cracked open so that they could use it later.
Exactly. And I think the initial idea, though, was that with that pod open, you could imply that a Kryptonian from thousands of years ago survived and maybe sired what would become the races of Atlantis and Themyscira, and that was how they were going to explain why there were these other superpowered people already on Earth.
Interesting.
So instead of
through evolution, that they get different abilities.
Exactly. And instead of it, and that they would be diluted, by like generations of interbreeding with regular humans, right? And that was going to be in lieu of like magic and the Olympian gods and things like that, that maybe they were all descended from Kryptonians. Do you think that would have, I mean, that's not what they did.
No.
They went with what the comics are, like with Zeus being Wonder Woman's father and stuff like that. But do you think that would have been interesting? Do you think that would have cheapened it?
Would it have, like, would we actually see a part of that sort of colonization?
I mean,
as that story?
Maybe. I mean, if they had decided to go with that, I think you can't assume people would assume it. So they must, if they were going to do that, I would assume you'd have some version of someone learning that history. Even if it's sort of clouded by like maybe by the time we got to Wonder Woman, maybe they say something about like someone came from the stars, or they talk about them like the gods, but it's really, they're talking about this Kryptonian spaceship.
Actual alien.
And this is just a Kryptonian Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, essentially.
He's going around and sort of starting seed all over the place.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, see, I think I would be into that.
Yeah.
I like that storyline a lot. I always have a tough time when they go too far away from like the comic continuity in movies, only just because I like for that to be a direct correlation to, oh, this is a cool thing, I really like this, I'm going to go read the comics about it.
And if it's too different.
If it's too different, and then, because I find that a lot with like movies already, it's so different that like even Guardians of the Galaxy, which is great, but there's no version of Guardians of the Galaxy that looks like that in the comics. It's so drastically different from the comics.
Was that true even when the movie came out?
Yeah.
I thought that lineup was pretty much what their lineup
they've
was,
sort of turned
it?
that. I think they've had that lineup for sure.
Or is that only since the movie?
Only since the movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that version of Guardians has never really existed. And so for me, I always have a really tough time with that because I got really interested in that storyline, but then there's no sort of continuity to back that up. I like that idea though. Like, right. I think that having the Kryptonian colonizer thing is a really cool way that they could show that story as one of the universes.
Yep.
That's something that happened. I love that idea and I think that's great. I'd have a hard time being okay with that in the movies because then I feel like that's setting up this sort of common knowledge for people that's not true at all.
Yeah.
But isn't that the whole MO of Blockbuster and Hollywood these days in general?
I mean,
coming up with new storylines, new franchises, new things to sell, new things to merchandise.
New things are fine, but you can build it off of this really deep, vast wealth of pre-existing storylines. I think, written by amazing
like
people.
Old comics that haven't made it to movies
I think
yet.
Even from a business perspective, I don't know that it makes sense to tie everything to a certain origin.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing in comics that is like the sort of grace period of like, oh, well, there's magic, so like maybe it was just a magic thing. You know, there's magic and science and aliens and multiverse and time travel. All of these different things kind of cover each other's asses.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But if you're going to say like, well, no, we set up that like Earth is totally normal and then there's an alien, everything special comes from the alien. Now you back yourself into a corner where it's like, do they ever try to do Green Lantern?
Yeah.
I mean, they could exist out there maybe, but like, how do you do the Flash? Superman's speed isn't as fast as the Flash's. Superman, Kryptonians can't make the Speed Force the way that the Flash can in the comics, right? So you almost back yourself into a corner where it's like, now you've set up too much of an expectation of someone getting a reasonable explanation. It's almost better to not be able to explain things because they all come from different places.
And just use one of those mechanics, if you will, to cover their ass. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it's just magic, so of course it doesn't make sense.
And you could do it for something, like if that's how they ever wanted to bring like Supergirl in, maybe like that pod was open, she walked out to the ice, she got frozen.
Yeah.
You do like the Geico caveman thing, and then she comes out and she goes, I'm Supergirl. It's not like the comics. It would be different. Her and Clark would not be related like they are in the comics, but it's still a way to do it. It's still kind of interesting.
And what you're saying, though, producer, is that if you, after seeing, let's say, something in a movie, you need to be able to go back home and read comic books to tell the story more.
I think that it cuts off the opportunity for potential new readers who want to go and get more information. I think you're cutting off of the sort of the origin from these things, which is within the comic books, and just creating a whole different timeline and storyline that I think that it doesn't give homage to the comics that they should have that they've come from by just going like, I know that they're all these amazing storylines, but I'm just going to go my own way. I think that there's such good writing that just if it was just even gotten a glimpse to people who've never read a comic, maybe would give it a chance.
So let me ask you this, and it might be a bit of a easy question.
Sure.
Give me your top 3 storylines that haven't been picked up.
Oh God! I mean,
like just in general, or for Superman, or
no, like in general. And sorry, let me rephrase that: net new storylines with new characters, new comic book or comic book universes that haven't been explored yet via a Marvel or a DC.
So, like a great one they're just doing right now is Dark Knight's Metal, which is
that story is done in the comics.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a character and a storyline that hasn't been done in the movies or TV.
I mean, there's
Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, Martian Manhunter.
I mean, it gets touched a little bit in TV, never in a movie. Never been touched.
Really, really great, interesting story because it's basically there used to be a race of aliens on Mars, and they sent. It was very similar to like the Krypton, like Clark Kent. They sent an alien. Well, how did he?
Well, it's an accident.
Yeah.
Basically, like a plague of fire, makes their race extinct. But before he can die, John Johns, the Martian Manhunter, is accidentally transported to Earth and a couple of centuries ahead by like a weird weird beam kind of thing that sort of hits Mars.
So he's basically
he accidentally ends up on Mars hundreds of years after his race goes extinct.
Earth. Yeah.
And he's by himself.
Yeah.
And he's alone.
So he gets to Earth and he surprises the scientist who ends up dying because he's so surprised. He's an older scientist.
The first person that he meets has a heart attack.
So then he takes that guy's, like he becomes that guy because he has the ability to change the way he looks. And so he becomes that guy and then lives the rest of his life as this guy and then eventually becomes like an actual detective and like in a police force. Really, really interesting. Very, very sad story. And
never been touched in a movie.
No,
that's a big one.
Yeah, one of my favorites is Booster Gold, who is basically he was like a shamed athlete from the future, who basically he comes to the past and with all of his future abilities and stuff, he pretends like he's a superhero, but he's like
he has like knowledge of events. And so tries to insert himself as a hero, but really he's after like fame and fortune. Yeah. Until he learns the value of heroism.
Yeah. But he's like
sort of like Biff in Back to the Future.
Yes, but if Biff ultimately was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, super. I mean, I think those two are really good ones that they've never been touched. Like, I mean, there's a million of storylines that like.
Yeah.
And I get that, but I mean, from a business standpoint, I mean, where do you spend your money on creating a new storyline for Superman where you already have huge buy-in and people are already so into it, or do you have to invest in a brand new franchise?
I mean, the way that the Burton movies or the old Christopher Reeve Superman movies worked was they would say, this is a thing from the comics, let's just write something using that character or using that idea.
Right.
The way it works now is they're more, especially in the MCU, like the Marvel movies, they really write adaptations of established comic stories. Winter Soldier, Civil War,
these really big, like, huge, famous story arcs.
Infinity War, like all of these things are based on something that even story-wise is pretty close. They have to adapt it based on what characters they have licensed and all that kind of shit. Yeah. But essentially, they're adapting actual stories, not just taking like Batman Returns isn't based on anything. It's just like, the Penguin, Catwoman, make a movie. the MCU movies are a different beast that way. You know, Thor Ragnarok is based partly on Planet Hulk and partly on Ragnarok.
Yeah.
You know, like there's actual stories that they're adapting.
Mhm.
That's the difference nowadays, right?
So what's going to happen in the future?
I kind of hope we swing back the other way, where we just take, like, what are the keystones of these characters, and we've mashed them together. What is a story we can write that uses them? I don't really need to see live action adaptations of The Long Halloween, or I mean, it's cool, and I like that story, but, like, I would rather just see someone take Batman and Man-Bat and just make a movie and just do something interesting, you know? Like,
I just think
I hope it cycles back.
I just think there's such amazing stories, and that's really some of the best storylines that they've had is when they've been pretty faithful to them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
It's a tough one. Anyways, let's go to the voicemail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're already there.
Yeah.
Hey, Dr. GC. Hey, Producer Richard. Here's my fourth dial doc for DocMas. It's called Sleeping Giant. So when they fall asleep, they grow from the average size person that they are to like a 50-foot tall giant. Through a combination of meditation, narcolepsy, and sleepwalking, they figured out how to weaponize this and fight crime with minor mistakes being 50-foot tall and sleeping while they do it. But it's useful? Question mark? Anyway, bye.
Wow. So like a narcoleptic, lucid dreaming, weaponized giant.
So does he become a giant as he's dreaming? Is that?
Yeah, I think the idea is he has to
happening?
be asleep, and then he becomes a giant.
He
But he's
basically
figured out
becomes Snorlax.
He's figured out some sort of lucid dreaming, sleepwalking thing where he can actually make that useful.
So he's like, we're not talking REM sleep cycle.
I don't think so.
He's more or less awake. Like when I get a massage and I'm snoring, but I know what's happening.
I think that must be it. Yes,
Okay.
which would make getting a massage a gigantic hazard.
Yeah.
Gigantic hazard. Ha ha ha.
Mm.
Ha ha.
Oh God, I wish that was my dial doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in that time of the episode, I guess, hey?
Yes.
So, Dial Doc, it's based on Dial H for Hero, which was this comic series where if you type hero into this magical,
Payphone.
well, like a rotary dial, yeah, basically, you become a never-before-seen hero or villain. It used to be how they would get readers to write in, like, silly ideas.
Okay.
It's nothing that could ever get its own comic book, but for like one issue, they could like make this.
So they usually have a
Pencil Man
punny
become,
name
yeah.
or a silly
Right,
power.
right.
We've tried to come up with one every single episode, which is like a nightmare.
Yeah, especially during
how
this
many
time.
episodes have there been?
We've been doing this since episode 60-something, and this is episode 149.
Whoa,
Yes.
a lot of heroes and villains.
Yeah, and most of them are terrible.
Most
We've
of
come
them.
up with a couple of
I mean,
really good
there's
ones.
there's always Come Man.
I just heard the-
Pedophile.
Yeah.
The thermostat one wasn't bad.
Thermostat.
There's-
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just heard that one. I saw the thermometer on the wall.
Yep.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yep. Don't give away my secret. but-
I had to.
Richard, do you have one?
I do.
Okay.
My character's name is Morris Sun,
Okay.
who is Grant Morrison's son, who was born as a comic book character in a book,
Yeah, he would be.
who has to then find a way to enter the realm of reality to reunite with his father.
Right.
He has all of the abilities of like the comic book universe, but can only use them when he's in the real world.
Right.
So he has to become aware of the fact that he's a comic book character and can exit the book, but then once he's in the real world, can use all of his comic book abilities.
Right. Gotcha. So the reference there is that Grant Morrison is a comic book writer, comic book creator who is famous for breaking the fourth wall or using comics as like the idea that comics are the windows into parallel worlds.
Okay.
All that kind of stuff. He's sort of very famous for messing with our perception of reality. So that it makes very much sense that his actual offspring would be a comic book character. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I have one
Reed is looking around the room right
called Fuckley.
Good God.
now. Interesting. I'm listening.
So what Fuckley is able to do is basically if they have sex, they absorb all of those person's memories. They just learn everything about them. Everything that, well, I shouldn't say learn everything about them because that implies objective truth. They learn that person's perception of everything that ever happened to them.
All memories from birth till the time of conception.
All memories
Or
that
not conception, but intercourse.
all memories that person actually has access to.
Right.
Like we don't remember our infancy.
Sure.
This person wouldn't either, and Fuckley wouldn't gain magic access to infant memories or anything like that.
Just what's in like the frontal cortex.
Yeah, just that sort of stuff. So,
Can you give us an example?
yeah, like they need like the safe code. So, but they've got to wine and dine. They got to take them on dates.
Oh,
It
yeah.
could be like, this could be a long process. They got to, you have to make a connection with someone.
Yeah.
Say, do you want to get out of here? Then they like, they get in the cab. They're talking. They get to know each other's interests, and then they make tender love. He learns the safe code. But then he's obviously going to be conflicted because he's made this deep connection with a person. He's like, do I want to rob their bank? Maybe I don't anymore. It's a very nuanced, complex character.
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Do we have time for questions? How
Yeah.
does this work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they get the memories instantly? And if so, at what point? Is it like upon insertion?
No, it's when the person whose memories they want climaxes. So they
Okay.
need to be a giving partner.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is it the safe word? Is the safe code?
And it also I'm just gonna throw this out there because I know someone's gonna say something about it. Has to be consensual. Power doesn't work if it's not.
Yeah. That's good to
You
know.
animals. You goddamn animals. But yeah, it's when the
It's when
person
they
whose
climax.
memories they want
Right.
climaxes. So you got to be a good partner. You got to be,
And this person's name again is Fuckley.
Fuckley.
So does Fuckley?
They have that. This is the one wrinkle. They have to introduce themselves as Fuckley. This is
Can you just be like, it's a nickname, it's a long story?
no, they have to say it's their given name.
So here's the thing: Fuckley, by definition,
Yeah.
is very intelligent and has an ever amassing amount of memories.
Yeah.
And at some point, some of those memories might even contradict each other. If let's say
yeah.
Fuckley has to work with, let's say, the bank manager to
Right.
get the safe code,
Yeah.
but then later, out of a weird fluke,
Yeah.
is actually with the bank manager's ex-wife,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
What happens when you have two sets of memories that contradict one another?
Sure.
What happens to the net memory in Fuckley's brain?
Right. Well, that's a very good question, and ripe.
Have you thought this through?
And ripe for exploration. The only other piece that I had thought of was that maybe they've only got room in their brain for like 10 sets of memories, and every time they come, they lose an earlier set.
Of their own
So-
memories or of a target?
I mean, it's tragic if they lose their own memories. That's kind of interesting.
Right?
I was just imagining that it was the the earliest of the 10 memories they had absorbed. But yeah, if they forget who they are every time they come and only absorb other people's memories, that's actually way more interesting.
there's
I like that idea.
There's a dementia.
yeah,
There's a dementia play there.
yeah,
Dr. Dementia.
that's interesting.
Maybe Dr. Dementia is the evil
Yeah.
person after they've lost all their memories.
So what happens when Fuckley fucks Dr. Dementia?
Good God.
Matt, do you have one?
Yeah, I do. I don't really know where it comes from, other than it is a
Usually the front.
Captain Critique.
Okay, Captain
Oh.
Critique.
Very
Oh, wow. Oh, this is your regular superhero.
This is just
You're
me
revealing-
as
yeah.
a superhero.
Revealing your super identity.
So it's sort of like those who can't teach, and those who can't teach Jim.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, those who do, they do really well.
Yeah.
And so those who do really well critique everyone else's shit.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, you walk into a house and you like, oh,
You immediately know.
That's a real shitty rug placement over there on the left-hand side. Right? But you have to do it in a very polished way.
Right, so they're like an actual, like a critic, like as if they were a professional.
Exactly.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what the topic is.
Wow.
If you say it in the right way, you sound like you know what you're talking about.
I mean, that's
So they have the
the key to
ability.
your success.
They have the ability to critique anything in any subject area in any topic.
Any topic,
Right.
whatever. And for whatever reason, because of the diction, I think,
Yeah.
when they give that critique, it hurts.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Wow.
it's instantly emotionally damaging.
yeah, I'd say.
Instant. It's absolutely instant. But I think what's really nice
I mean,
about
I have
it,
been meaning to talk to you about that rug placement.
I think what's important though is that it's all from a good place.
Yeah.
Like this is not an evildoer.
Oh no.
Right.
This is a
He
hero.
just wants better for everybody and he
Right.
knows best.
He is. He's not
Nothing
like.
patronizing about that.
Yeah, no.
He's not bringing everyone down like the other character that I heard recently. In fact, they're using their superpowers for good to
Right.
make people
Better.
really
Yeah.
achieve their potential.
Sure. I mean, that's certainly something I could see Captain Critique saying to
Yeah.
himself. That's
100%. Isn't it the best villains are the ones who thinks that they're doing good?
Yeah, that's like Zoom,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You know, I'm going to make you
Is
a better
it?
hero.
Yeah.
I'm going to hurt you until you're a better hero. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Good God. All right, well, that's it.
Wow, you really shut that one down.
We would love to hear what kind of characters you folks can come up with.
That's right.
You can send us your ideas using the hashtag DialDoc, or you can just send us a question for maybe a future episode, or just talk to us online through
Yeah.
our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast.
our Twitter,
At Dr. DC.
our Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast.
of course, our email,
Dr. DC Podcast at gmail.com.
got that subreddit.
r/Dr_DC.
And of course, you've already heard it. We get calls sometimes. You can do that through our doc phone.
208-917-3238.
That's 208-917-DCEU. And of course, go on our website
DrDCPodcast.com or .ca.
where you can buy our merch.
Buy our merch.
Give us 5 stars on iTunes. And of course, every single day, this DocMas, we are releasing a video for the Patreon.
That's right.
On top of the 4 extra episodes we release every month. For only $5, you get a ton of extra content. So make sure that you subscribe there.
Patreon.com/DrDC.
That's it for this week. Say,
Matt, is there anywhere people can find you online?
Not really.
Okay.
cool.
Thank you for being here.
I'm very happy to be here.
We
And
appreciate
I look forward to having some more pizza downstairs. Thanks so
Hell
much.
yeah.
Dr. DC.
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this week.
Adios.
This day of DocMas.
Adios.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Heroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.